Politics is a battlefield of words, where quick wit and sharp responses can leave audiences in awe. When reporters try to trap politicians with loaded questions, some leaders don't just respond, they completely flip the script. These iconic moments showcase the mastery of dismantling narratives with precision. Number 1. Pierre Poilievre shutting down a reporter.
On the topic, I mean, in terms of your sort of strategy currently, you're obviously taking the populist pathway.
What does that mean?
Well, appealing to people's more emotional levels, I would guess. I mean, certainly you tap very strong ideological language quite frequently.
Like what?
Left wing, this and that, right wing. I mean, it's that type of ideological thing.
I never really talk about left or right.
Anyways, I don't
really believe in that.
Okay, a lot of people would say that you're simply taking a page out of the Donald Trump book.
Like which people would say that?
Well, I'm sure a great many Canadians, but
like who?
I don't know who, but
well, you're the one who asked the question, so
yeah.
You must know somebody.
Okay, I'm sure there's some out there, but anyways, the point of this question is, I mean, why should Canadians trust you with their vote, given not just the sort of ideological inclination in terms of taking the page out of Donald Trump's book, but
what are you
also
talking about? What page? What page? Can you give me a page? Give me the page. You keep saying
in terms of turning things quite dramatically in terms of Trudeau and the left wing and all of this. I mean, you make quite a it's quite a play that you make on it. So I'm
not
just
sure.
wondering.
I don't know what your question is.
Then forget that. Why should Canadians trust you with their vote?
Common sense. Okay. Common sense for a change. We're going to make common sense common in this country. We don't have any common sense in the current government. The guy prints $600 billion, grows our money supply by 32%.
The scene unfolds when a reporter questions Canada's Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre about his so-called populist pathway. The loaded term implies emotional manipulation, but Poilievre doesn't take the bait. Instead, he calmly asks the reporter to define populist and provide evidence of his claims. The reporter fumbles, unable to justify the accusation. When the journalist pivots to a Trump comparison, Poilievre presses further. Which people say that? Again, no substantial answer comes. Finally, Poilievre shifts the focus to policy, lambasting Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's financial decisions and blaming them for Canada's rampant inflation. By staying composed and demanding accountability, Poilievre dismantles the narrative entirely, leaving the reporter visibly uncomfortable. Number 2. Donald Trump's brief comeback.
Who was here in 2021? Thank you, everybody.
In classic Trump style, the former president demonstrates his mastery of brevity and control during a press conference. A reporter begins to ask a question, but Trump interrupts, dismissing it before it can gain momentum. By shutting it down abruptly, Trump avoids engaging with what he likely perceives as a biased or irrelevant query. This tactic, though polarizing, reinforces his dominance in the interaction. Love him or hate him, Trump's ability to dictate the tone of any exchange is undeniable. The interaction ends with the reporter unable to follow up, leaving viewers to wonder what might have been said if the question had been allowed. Was this Trump dodging scrutiny, or was it simply a case of outsmarting the media? Number 3. J.D. Vance calling out media bias.
Been to Springfield?
Dana, I've been to Springfield probably 100 times in my life.
How about
I've
recently,
taken my children
since
to
you've
get
heard
ice
this?
cream at Young's Jersey Dairy.
Have you heard recently since you've gotten these calls?
Have I been in the last 4 days?
No,
I'm
I'm
talking
talking
about
about
in the last 4 days, but I've
since
talked
you've
to a lot
gotten
of
these
people
calls
in
from the
Springfield, Dana,
constituents.
and they're telling me this stuff is happening. Dana, would you like to ask me questions and then let me answer them, or would you like to debate me on these topics? I noticed that when you had Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, you gave them multiple choice answers to the questions that you asked, and you allowed them to answer the questions. I'm happy to be here to talk about policy, but if you're going to interrupt me every single time that I open my mouth, then why am I even doing this? So please ask a question, and I'd ask you to be polite enough to let me answer it.
Yes, I am.
Ohio Senator J.D. Vance finds himself under fire when CNN's Dana Bash questions his connection to the community of Springfield. Bash implies Vance is out of touch because he hasn't recently visited the area, but Vance counters confidently. He highlights his frequent visits and long-standing ties to Springfield, even mentioning family outings to local spots like Young's Jersey Dairy. When Bash interrupts him repeatedly, Vance calls her out, asking whether she intends to let him answer or turn the exchange into a debate. He further accuses her of showing favoritism toward liberal politicians while grilling conservatives like him. Vance's firm composure flips the script, leaving Bash to navigate her own accusations of bias. This moment perfectly illustrates how a calm, direct approach can expose double standards in the media. Have you ever noticed this kind of treatment in political interviews? Number 4. Vivek Ramaswamy on loaded questions about white supremacy.
I'm not going to recite some catechism for you. I'm against vicious racial discrimination in this country. So I'm not pledging allegiance to your new religion of modern wokeism, which absolutely fits the test. I'm not going to bend the knee to your religion. I'm sorry. I'm not asking you to bend the knee to mine, and I'm not going to bend the knee to yours. But do I condemn vicious racial discrimination? Yes, I do. Am I going to play your silly game of gotcha? No, I'm not. And frankly, this is why people have lost trust. And I know you're going to go print the headline tomorrow. I already know this. We already know how your game works. Vivek Ramaswamy refuses to condemn white supremacy because you asked a stupid question. The reality is, I condemn vicious racial discrimination in this country, but the kind of vicious and systematic racial discrimination we see today is discrimination on the basis of race in a very different direction. You want to know what the best way is to end discrimination on the basis of race? Stop discriminating on the basis of race. Do that, and we're going to move this country forward. And I don't care whether you're black or white or brown or anything in between. That's how we're going to unite this country. You people have been responsible for dividing this country to a breaking point, creating a projection of national division. I meet people from the south side of Chicago to meetings like this one of every shade of melanin, multiple, from man to woman, doesn't make a difference, who are hungry for reviving unity in this country. And you, with your catechism that you try to get to politicians to whatever fake headline you're going to print on the basis of this conversation tomorrow, that's what's dividing this country to a breaking point. Shame on you. Look people in the eye and tell them what you've actually failed to tell them for the last 5 years. Own the accountability for your own failures as the media. That's how we rebuild trust in this country.
Entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy takes a bold stand during an interview where a reporter accuses him of not explicitly condemning white supremacy. Ramaswamy sees through the trap and refuses to engage in what he calls the catechism of modern wokeism. Instead, he condemns all forms of racial discrimination and emphasizes judging individuals by character, not skin color. He criticizes the media for perpetuating divisive narratives and predicts that headlines will mischaracterize his stance. Ramaswamy uses the moment to advocate for merit-based policies and challenge racial categorizations, calling them discriminatory in their own right. His parting words, "Shame on you," strike a powerful chord, leaving viewers to question the role of media in stoking division. How do you think the media could better foster meaningful dialogue instead of sensationalism? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more.